Welcome back, folks, to another edition of #AskGSM, the weekly Monday mailbag video where you send in your questions from Facebook and Twitter, and I answer them right here. This will, of course, be the final edition of #AskGSM for the foreseeable future because I will be going back to college this Sunday. But nonetheless, a lot of great questions for this week, both coming from Facebook and Twitter. So without further ado, let's get right down to them. Thomas B. from Facebook, he asked this last week. I couldn't get to it, so I postponed it for this week, so I apologize, Thomas. When do you see CM Punk contending for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship? It could be as early as WrestleMania. A lot of people have been saying that Punk might win the Rumble. I've been one of those people, and could go on to win the Royal Rumble and go on to headline WrestleMania for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against either Randy Orton, maybe Triple H, because that's what they've been building towards. So I could see that happening at WrestleMania. Punk Orton again at WrestleMania, because of course we got it again. We got it at WrestleMania 27 with the roles reversed. So I wouldn't mind it, but if it meant CM Punk getting back the WWE Championship, I'm all for it. Because remember, it's been about a year since he last held the WWE title, since he lost it to The Rock at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view in 2013. So I would say as early as WrestleMania, but he definitely will be in contention for the title at some point this year, and will definitely win it back at some point too, so no worries. Jared J. from Facebook asks, what are your thoughts on WWE limiting the movesets of their competitors, especially high-risk ones such as Adrian Neville? I think it sucks, because obviously people give, for one prime example, John Cena. I think he's much more capable in the ring than some people give him credit for. He's not able to produce or show the moveset that he actually has, some move in his repertoire that he isn't allowed to put forth in his matches, and I think it's limited by WWE officials. I think it sucks. So a lot of people shit on some people's movesets, and it's not even their fault. Some people are naturally bad, like the Great Khali or something. I don't think he's holding back a 450 splash. But people like John Cena, like you said, Adrian Neville, they don't want spot monkeys. They should be able to tell a story in the ring. And Adrian Neville is a guy who has come a long way since his NXT debut, and he definitely has been having a lot of great matches with the likes of, what was his name? Sami Zayn a couple weeks ago. He had a great match with just Tyler Breeze this past week on NXT. So he's a prime example, like you mentioned before. So I think it sucks. Another question from Jared says, do you think WWE should transition JTG into a role as a manager, commentator, or other on-air personality so they will actually have a reason to pay him? Absolutely. I think having people like, I don't think Alex Riley is a great example. Kurt Hawkins, JTG, Yoshitatsu, I don't care. I can't even remember the last time that guy was on television. And some of these guys are very talented. JTG, he is talented. I don't think he's a 5-star match wrestler or anything. He's not going to put on an instant classic inside the squared circle. But you're wasting this guy away. A lot of people are saying, oh, this guy's still employed. I can't agree more. I can't even remember the last time this guy was on TV. So yeah, I think putting him into the role as a manager, I think would be great. Commentator, probably not. I don't think he'd be the best commentator. But he was a manager, I think, for Tyson Kidd one week on Superstars a couple of years ago. I think it'd be a great role for him. Maybe have him go with the primetime players. And I don't know. I think there's a whole crop of people that could use him as a manager. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But, like you just said, use him as an on-air personality. I think there's no other best way to put him in another role on television. And then with the WWE Network coming. The primetime players are getting their own show, which is rumored. So give him his own show, I guess, on the network and see how it goes. Andre G asks, between CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, who do you consider to be the complete wrestler? Now, that is a very difficult question. Complete wrestler, complete sports entertainer. It's kind of which way you put it. I would think Daniel Bryan's matches are more engaging as far as crowd reaction with the whole yes chant and stuff. I would have to go CM Punk because I think he's better on the mic than Daniel Bryan. Some people say Daniel Bryan is better in the ring than CM Punk. That's definitely debatable in my opinion. I'm not going to say CM Punk's better, but it's definitely debatable. So I would have to go with CM Punk, but it's definitely a toss-up between Daniel Bryan and CM Punk because D-Bry has come a long way in such a short period of time from 3-4 years ago. And he also asks, what do you think about Brock Lesnar versus Ken Shamrock in his prime? I think that would have been a great matchup. Hell, not even on a WWE ring. Bring it to the UFC. I think that would have been great there. It would have been definitely a money matchup. Ken Shamrock versus Brock Lesnar. Back in the day, maybe in the Attitude Era, or maybe even as early as the Ruthless Aggression Era. He left by that point, but Brock Lesnar was just getting his start. So I think that would have been a great matchup in a WWE ring or in a UFC octagon. And now time for the Twitter questions. @OfficialCenaFan asks, Who do you think John Cena will face at WrestleMania 30, and who would you like to see him face apart from Taker? So you just kind of answered my question there. I was going to say The Undertaker. And I was just thinking about this the other day. Who else can he possibly face at WrestleMania that would feel fresh, aside from The Undertaker? We've seen him face The Rock twice, and he was in the same ring as The Rock at WrestleMania 27 too. So that's obviously a no-go because WrestleMania won't feature The Rock this year. Daniel Bryan, I think, is a definite possibility. It is an absolute possibility this year. I could see that happening, only if Bryan went over. But aside from that, I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see John Cena versus Bray Wyatt on a WrestleMania anytime soon. Maybe at SummerSlam, definitely not at WrestleMania. Aside from The Undertaker, I don't know, Daniel Bryan. That's really all that comes to mind. Maybe CM Punk. A lot of people have been saying Punk Cena at WrestleMania would be great. I couldn't agree more. I don't see that happening this year. I don't see their cross passing at any time in the near future. But yeah, I would have to go with Daniel Bryan. At HBK Lover 123 asks, where do you see Dolph Ziggler's career going when he returns from his concussion, and will he capture gold in 2014? So yeah, Ziggler suffered a concussion a few weeks ago at the Old School Raw Superstars taping. That was 2 weeks ago, so it remains to be seen when he's going to be back. Will he capture gold in 2014? Possibly. Will he capture WWE World Heavyweight title gold? Probably not. I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. I love Ziggler, but with one World Championship, didn't even give him back the World Heavyweight Championship, so I highly doubt they would put him in the WWE World Heavyweight title picture anytime soon unless they built him back up. Maybe a mid-card title, because, I mean, he contended for the US and IC titles just a few short months ago, so I could see him being the one to beat Ambrose for the US title. I don't know. I think that's below Ziggler at this point, but I could definitely see it happening. So, yeah, I could see him capturing mid-card title gold. And hopefully they use him when he comes back from the concussion, because they weren't even using him beforehand. So hopefully they turn him heel and give him a push or something. At JJF Tweets asks, had the Cruiserweight title not existed when it did, who from the division could have become a mid-card or main event stars? Obviously Rey Mysterio. Matt Hardy went for the Cruiserweight title. He was kind of a mid-card guy. That's a very good question. Juventud Guerrero, maybe. Ultimo Dragon definitely could have had a great career had it not been for the Cruiserweight division, but they completely misused him. He's had a great career everywhere except for the WWE. So maybe Ultimo Dragon, I think, is a definite, is my prime example for that question. At JJF Tweets also asked, who had the great submission finisher of all time? I would have to go with Bret Hart. That when you say submission, that's the first thing that comes to mind with the sharpshooter. It's a universal move. Natalya uses it. Tyson Kidd uses it. Everyone uses it. So I would have to go with the sharpshooter. Maybe the chicken wing from Bob Backlund. I think that's also another great answer. I'm not really sure aside from that. Maybe the camel clutch from the Iron Sheik. Obviously, that was a devastating maneuver back in the day too. Is it camel clutch or yeah, it's camel clutch. I'm thinking of Cobra clutch from Sergeant Slaughter. So him too. The bear hug from Bruno Sammartino. But out of all those, I would have to go with the sharpshooter from Bret Hart. At Albin Disafagarik, I completely apologize for botching that. Would you have preferred a surprise return from Batista? Yes. I am a absolute mark for returns, especially in the Royal Rumble. That's what I was hoping that we would see last year, a surprise return from Batista in the Royal Rumble. And then it was rumored for this year too. I can't blame WWE for hyping it beforehand to get ratings for Raw and, to get people watching, get people excited, build up his return. I understand that, especially if he's going to be a pivotal part of WrestleMania this year. So I understand that, but yes, I would have preferred him to be a surprise return in the Royal Rumble. But then again, how big of a surprise would it have been since it was all over the internet anyway at the end of December and everyone knew he was coming back. So I don't know. I still would have marked regardless. But I think I still would have preferred a surprise return from Batista at the Royal Rumble. At X, CM Punk Fan X asks, how do you feel about the New Age Outlaws potentially becoming the next tag champs? I think it's a great idea. The Road Brothers have had a very good run with the tag team championships over the last number of months. When it comes time for them to drop the championships so they can hopefully face each other one-on-one at WrestleMania, I've said in the past who should be the ones to take the titles off the Road Brothers, either the Usos or the Real Americans. I would be completely fine with the New Age Outlaws taking the titles at the Royal Rumble. Just one last fun run from them as tag team champions, because they will be on TV for the foreseeable future, part of the Authority and CM Punk angle. So I think that's great. And then you can have the Usos or the Real Americans or whoever win the championships from them at WrestleMania. It gives the Usos a big win over six-time tag team champions on the grandest stage of them all. I think it'd be fantastic. So I love the idea of giving them one more run as WWE Tag Team Champs. At the Aussie Viper asked, which superstars do you think will make a surprise return in the Royal Rumble? I don't really know. I think Hulk Hogan would be awesome. I don't think he can wrestle anymore. I don't want to see him wrestle, but just maybe one spot, just come down, hear Real American blast throughout the arena. The entire arena goes crazy. I think the Ultimate Warrior would be awesome too. Is it likely? Probably not. He's going into the Hall of Fame, but it would still be awesome. Jake the Snake Roberts is an obvious favorite. I said that in the past. A lot of people have been clamoring that for months now, so obviously Jake the Snake Roberts. As a mid-card guy, Shelton Benjamin said he wouldn't be in. MVP, probably not. They were rumoring Carlito last year. John Morrison, I think, would be cool if he came back in the Royal Rumble this year. He's been ready to return for a while now, so I think he would be cool. Anyone, honestly, would be fine with me as long as it's not a dumb surprise or someone that we've seen time and time again. Sheamus, I'd be okay with because we haven't seen him in months, but I honestly don't care if he comes back or not. I'm not a huge fan of Sheamus, only as a heel. But if he comes back, meh. Jericho would be cool, but he came back last year and the year before in the month of January. Rob Van Dam would be pretty cool as well. So I would have to go with Hogan and Ultimate Warrior being my two huge picks for the Royal Rumble. I think it would be awesome if they came in the Royal Rumble this year. But Batista's kind of overshadowing a lot of people, so I don't see a lot of surprise returns. But Hogan and Ultimate Warrior or Ultimate Warrior and then Jake the Snake would be my top picks. And the final question at 2000 Awesome asked, who do you think is the most underrated superstar and most overrated superstar in WWE/TNA? So for underrated, I put down in WWE, I put Bad News Barrett, Xavier Woods, and Antonio Cesaro. I think Bad News Barrett, or Wade Barrett, I should say, hate Bad News Barrett, and Cesaro should both be world champions by now or at least sometime in the very near future. They destroyed Bad News Barrett with this terrible gimmick. They destroyed Barrett with that. Cesaro, I think, is doing fine for himself in the Real American, so hopefully at some point he will win a world title. Xavier Woods, I think he's a great wrestler. They're just saddling him with a stupid gimmick of being the next Funkasaurus. They're to just have basically recycling Brodus Clay's gimmick to Xavier Woods, which I think is dumb. He has his own image. Let him do his own thing. Don't recycle Brodus Clay's old gimmick. Overrated, I was looking through the roster, and I didn't really see anyone that jumped out at me as overrated. He's not really a top star. I would put Fandango, maybe that's my personal bias because I don't like Fandango pretty much. I hate Fandango the character. Johnny Curtis I think would be a good mid-card guy, but I just don't see anything all that special in Fandango himself, like the character, you know what I mean? I don't see him being a world champion or anything. Obviously, a lot of people don't, but I think his whole character is overrated in my opinion. Overrated and underrated in TNA. Overrated Gunner. I don't see anything special in him at all. I don't even understand why he has the briefcase right now, the Feast or Fire briefcase for the World Championship. So I think that's dumb. I think James Storm should have it instead. Underrated Christopher Daniels. How has this guy not had a title run with the World Championship yet? How? I honestly see why can you not give this guy a World Championship run yet? They had Chris Sabin as World Champion last year. I mean, that basically says it all. If they have Chris Sabin, I love the guy, but World Champion, I don't think so. If they can give Chris Sabin a run with the World Heavyweight Championship, why not Christopher Daniels? So he's definitely my most underrated guy in TNA at the moment. So that's going to wrap it up for this week's #AskGSM video. Once again, guys, thank you for sending in all the questions. Really do appreciate it. Like I said before, this will be the final time this will be held. The #AskGSM video series will be held for right now. It will be brought back in my Wrestle Rant radio show coming back on Tuesday, January 26th, or Tuesday, January 28th, I'm sorry. So make sure to check that out at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The link's down below, and all my profiles on Twitter, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. So once again, guys, thanks for watching. Really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe as well. And until next time, see you guys.